'Tis the season, is it not? So, going through, we just celebrated Halloween, All Saints Day, Veterans Day, and we got Thanksgiving coming up. And then, of course, we all know that Christmas is right around the corner because the decorations are already going up and the music is already playing. But one of the things that came to or at least to my mind, is, and I brought this up on a few occasions, are we bringing up the important aspects of the holiday, the holy day? Are we paying attention to many of the things we do read? Doctrine teaches us how we need to separate ourselves from our materialism, separate ourselves from our ego, separate ourselves from our selfishness, and embrace, charity, humility, education, humbleness as we go through. So, and as I did in my lecture a month ago, where it was like trying to live Spiritist life, I was like, okay, well, when we come up to a holiday, are we treating it as a holy day or a holiday? So, went to the old Merriam-Webster's dictionary and pulled up definitions of holiday. Holy day, good, it's in there. A day on which one is exempt from work. Vacation. A period of exemption and relief. Now, the doctrine. Which of these is promoting a life that's beneficial to us? It brings us closer to the divine light, that brings us closer to our divine goal. We're not working, vacations, period of exemption and relief. Well, we have a little bit of it because we do have in the Spirit's book that the moral law of rest. We are allowed to rest. We are allowed to take breaks. There's even a commandment because the Lord rested on the seventh day. He created the Sabbath day, and then so on the seventh day, humanity is commanded to rest. And listen, when I went through and did some research on that, the stuff I was reading on that one was kind of fun to read because they're all sitting there and says like, well, I still have to cook on Sabbath. And like, no, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to cook the night before so that everyone rests. But then you got all kinds of things to it. And it's worth its own discussion. And this is where I'm going to kind of touch on it lightly here today in this lecture. But what's a holy day? Holy day only had one definition. A day set aside for special religious observance. Well, we're Spiritists, so it would be more special spiritual observance. So we can take into account our spiritual nature. But we're still setting aside the day. And we're giving it a special mark. We're treating it as a special day. So I went through, pulled up the holidays for the year. New Year's, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Inauguration Day, Washington's birthday or President's Day, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day. Now there's more of it. There's a lot more in there. When I started doing the research, I started pulling up the Catholic calendar, the Jewish calendar, the Muslim calendar. I pulled up the Brazilian calendar, and I just did the American one for right now. Oddly enough, the American calendar is kind of short. But then again, there's a few that have state ones in there. So like Florida has a special couple of state holidays thrown in. And then you have the Black Heritage Month, Pride Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Mental Health Month, and then you have all these other occasions. So we're very good at finding reasons to make something special, designating a day, a month, and putting some significance to it. But the question is what are we doing with those? One of the ones that I wanted to note in here was Halloween. We all remember Halloween, right? We all got in costumes. We all handed out candy. Some of us decorated our houses. But what did we do for All Saints' Day? What happened to that one? And this is where the big thing I was talking with a lot of different people about. It's where are we as in humanity? Remember that we have the scale of all the planets and how we're evolving from the primitive trials and atonements to regeneration to happy to divine. And we're like in that transition from trials and atonements to regeneration. So we're not at level 3 yet, we're at level 2.5. But we're on our way. But one of the things they were saying is like, well, are we embracing a level 3 lifestyle? Or are we still embracing a level 2 lifestyle? So I'm going to come back to this when it's the last slide as well. So I duplicated the slide because I want to go through and discuss some of these things in more detail to see as like a comparison. Because a lot of these things here that you do see up here, particularly like Ash Wednesday, and for every Brazilian's favorite carnival that's right before it, they're weighted different. Just like Halloween, All Saints' Day, they're weighted differently. So Christmas versus Thanksgiving. Like I said, there's Christmas stuff already out. But where's the Thanksgiving stuff? There's an imbalance here. And some of the things that are the reasons for the imbalance is what the things I want to discuss. So most of the stuff I found, I'm pulling from the Gospel according to Spiritism. So we're talking about regenerative worlds. As I mentioned before, we're trying to level up to level 3 of 5. And we're trying to be free of our passions. Now, for some of those, we could usually equate those to the 7 deadly sins. Gluttony, malice, envy, pride, lust. So we got a lot of different things that we need to conquer our own passions about. No longer pride. Because we stop being selfish and start being selfless. No envy, hatred, where love is written on every brow. So, again, let's go back to the passions. There's 3 of them showed up right there. Pride, envy, hatred. Because we see those in the day-to-day life, don't we? We got the wars that are going, Russia, Ukraine, Israel with Hamas, now Hezbollah. And I'm sure we've got other people that are, the hatred that came up in the recent elections. There's a lot there. And just like the hatred, there was also pride. You know, everyone waving their flags for their candidate of choice. So they had all that pride and everything else, and they were being exclusive. It's like, were we trying to open up? Were we trying to have love on our brow? Were we trying to unify? Were we trying to bring everyone together? Are we trying to help each other? Are we trying to bring our communities together so that we don't have envy, we don't have pride, we don't have hatred, and our passions are muted because it's love conquers all. Like I said, I do remember being introduced when I first came to Spiritism, being up in Newark, New Jersey, huge Brazilian, Portuguese community. And whenever they threw their parties, festival, carnival, they brought in, they turned the streets into a party. But then one of the things I loved is everybody was dancing, and especially on the Brazilian holidays. If you could samba, great. If you can't, at least you're trying, great too. And of course, there is churrasco. There's food to go around to everybody. And it's like it was a party, but it was a party that all could attend. I enjoyed that. I embraced that. And it didn't seem to be no matter who won. And of course, shortly thereafter, there was a World Cup where Brazil and Portugal were in it. So no matter who won, there was a party in the streets. So, and it was a good time. Like I said, they didn't matter. Portugal won, Brazilians still came out and partied. Brazil won, Portuguese came out and partied. It was a grand old time during World Cup season. When they lost, everyone says, sorry for your loss, man. They would console each other. And that was something that really resonated with me. And it's touched me to this moment. And then, as I was listening, coming over here, I was listening to a podcast, and they were bringing up talking to a soldier, and they were talking about how, and they were talking to him, and he was sitting there, like, yeah, I was on deployment. I had 30 guys that I probably would never hang out with, but we're stuck together for however many months. So you have to make do with what you got. So you would talk, you would make up stories, you would play pranks, you'd do everything. And it's like, but these people in your normal day-to-day life, you do nothing with. But yet you're forced to, and comes to find out that after a while, he missed that camaraderie to the point that he would go to a diner, because I think if at the time he was working for a news organization as a journalist, so he would go sit there at a diner and wait while he's waiting for his time to go live. He's sitting there and mingling with everybody in the diner. And that's kind of the things we're trying to push when you have a holiday and a holy day. Is we're trying to bring people together. Also from the gospel, this one's a little bit more harsh, because now the spirits are really bringing it down to us. O people, when will you judge your own hearts, your own thoughts, your own actions, without concerning yourselves with what your brothers and sisters do? When will you look upon yourselves with stern eyes? When you start questioning yourselves. We know that in the Spirit's book, 9:19, it's like the great man from antiquity says, know thyself. And the follow-up is a killer. It's a really long answer. When you go through and you learn how to know yourself. But are we taking ourselves and applying it to our day-to-day lives? Are we applying it to a holiday? Are we applying it to one of our days of our weekend? As like the Judeo-Christian Sabbath. Are you making a Sabbath day holy? And giving yourself the needed rest, taking your time for yourself. So, as I'm up here telling you what I studied and learned and when I prepared for this speech, I also have to sit there and say, like, hey, have you turned around and thought of yourself? Are you treating the holidays with respect? And I have to sit there and say, no. I didn't dress up like a saint for Halloween and then continue saying that same saint for All Saints' Day. I didn't do that. And what am I focused in on for Christmas? What am I getting for Christmas? The Christmas list. Or am I focusing in on the reason for the season, the birth of Jesus, the coming in, that gave just wonderful teachings that we're still trying to master and understand to this day? I mean, this whole book, Gospel According to Spiritism, is just how to expand our knowledge of what Jesus taught 2,000 years ago and take it to the next level. So in the same Gospel, chapter 11, verse 9, again, it's bringing out selfishness. You keeping things close. Confined, close family, friends. Nobody else matters. And then someday, the doctrine, what you learn today, will kill the selfishness in any form in which it may appear. For besides personal selfishness, there is also family, caste, national selfishness. You know, Viva Brazil, USA, we got that all going on. We've got a lot of these different things, but are they put in the right place? Are we doing the love your neighbor as yourself? Are we following those contexts? Like selfishness. We're getting together for Thanksgiving. We bring our family in. Are we bringing in friends? What about those of us that don't have friends and family close? I haven't seen anything for this center, but the center down in Miami, they're doing Friendsgiving. For all the Brazilians that their family's back in Brazil, they're there by themselves, and the fact that Brazil doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving on that day. They're coming together and they're celebrating. They're going to still do the traditional American turkey, but since they're all Brazilians, they're going to bring in Brazilian dishes too. I made the joke to them, it was a bad one. Are they going to make their coxinhas with turkey instead? So, got a few chuckles, I'll take it. But again, now you're talking to somebody that's embracing the Spirit. They're sharing their love for all. They're bringing together, they're unifying, bringing the cultures together. Like it says, so that we have people that didn't grow up in one culture embracing the culture of the land they're with and showing a layer of respect and love for it. And to make it even better, they're saying, let's all of us get together. When we think of the original reason for Thanksgiving, it had the same effect. We had European immigrants on these shores, and they were doing things the European way, and they were not surviving. They were used to things a certain way, and on the New World, things reacted differently. The soil was different. The weather was different. The climate was different. And they were struggling. But there were some local Native Americans there that says, you know what? Let's work together. You guys have some very powerful weapons that can help protect us, and in return, we will teach you how to farm our foods and deal with our cattle, their own agricultural society. The immigrants survived because of that sharing of information, that coming together, that unification between two totally different people to create something even better. So much so that when they had their first harvest, there was so much food so much to go around. They says, you know what? There's too much for us. Let's not be selfish, and let's invite them in. The people that taught us, let us share this wonderful bounty with them. And thus you have the makings of the first Thanksgiving, where you have the two cultures coming together, sharing a harvest feast together in peace and in harmony. So they got over their base passions. They got over the things. But what made them do it? They were saying, like, one group was suffering. They didn't have pride. It's like they were hungry. They were in pain. They didn't have the comforts. And it says, we'll take anything. Just help us take the suffering away. Now, does that sound familiar in our day-to-day lives? How many of us sit there and says, please take this away from me. Please help me win the lottery. We've made these kind of comments before in our day-to-day lives. But yet, the answer is still the same. The spirits teach us, help each other. Be charitable. Be humble. Go out and help each other. So, when you're out here and you're talking about these things, broaden yourself out. Open your doors. If you have someone in your community that's going to be alone for Thanksgiving, invite them in. Maybe they will provide one dish that you don't know how to cook or prepare. So it's a sharing of information, sharing culture. But then let's take it beyond Thanksgiving. Like this past Monday was Veterans Day. How do you show respect that for a veteran? Multiple ways. I can get free meals at a restaurant. Woohoo! I get a lot of people that go by and say, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service, sir. But is that enough? To some, maybe. Others, maybe not. Many of them bear the scars of friends lost in battle. That when they go there, it's not a Veterans Day, it's a Memorial Day. It brings up the memories of the friends they lost. Maybe the good times, but also the pain and suffering goes with it. So then it would be a day to show love for another and say, hey, are you okay? Are you going through tough times? It's in the news. There's plenty of evidence that there is. There's a lot of veterans out there that are hurting. That's Veterans Day. Memorial Day, it's the opposite. We're looking at the ones that didn't make it. Memorial Day doesn't celebrate the ones that lived. Memorial Day says the ones that didn't. There's a lot of things to that one too. Part of the love your neighbor as yourself. It's one of the I'm going to be very gentle on the political topic with this one. The flag. For everyone that's buried on Memorial that becomes a part of Memorial Day, they were buried with a flag over their coffin. So whenever that family or their loved ones or friends sees a flag being disrespected, they feel like it's disrespecting the person they lost. So are we showing love to our neighbor because of the symbology that went with a cloth that happens to be red, white, and blue here, green, yellow, and blue in Brazil? Are we putting the right level of respect? The law of love. Again, this is the gospel. This isn't the Spirit's book. I don't have any of the Spirit's book in this one. This is all the gospel. Contact with love enlivens and fertilizes the seeds of virtue. Contact with love. Let's think that one through for a minute. Showing love to one another. Being kind to one another. Being affectionate to one another. You have your bad days, but does someone else come and say, hey, I see you're having a bad day. Is there something I can do to make you feel better? Likewise, is that favor returned? You may have a bad day now, but when you feel better, are you going around and helping someone else on their bad day? I see a lot of stuff on Facebook and everything else for those that follow relationships. They always say it's always one-sided. And I was like, and they usually use it as a joke or a bad joke at that. And I thought my jokes were bad. Then I see that, and I'm like one person will get all the love and affection and attention. The other person, handle it on your own. Deal with it on your own. It kind of goes contrary, doesn't it? Practice of charity, humility, patience, devotion, self-denial, resignation, sacrifice. All virtues that are the offspring of love. So we're now bringing this. These are your tools. Charity, humility, patience, devotion, self-denial, resignation, and sacrifice. We can see this. We can put bits and pieces of it together through everything we go through. I think I went the wrong way. Nope, I didn't. So we can apply those tools to the holidays to make them holy days. Does anyone remember Peter's lecture at the beginning of the year when he talked about New Year's Day? He was doing an all year's day. Because he doesn't say, just don't make it a good one day. Make it a good 365 days. So we're not focusing on the celebration. We're promoting the fact that we have another year to improve, another year to show love, another year to accomplish a goal, another year, put the positive spin on it. Another year of life. My coworker celebrated his 30th year anniversary sober this year. That is quite an achievement. And the bad part is, he got his 30-year chit in the mail, the little token. And unfortunately, us being in construction, hit a bump on the road and everything else, lost it. He lost his 30-year piece up in Fargo, North Dakota. It hurt him. So much so, his daughter saw it. When he found out what happened, she went out and reached out and asked and did whatever she needed to do to get that 30-year piece back. Because of how special that is. So, are we doing that for New Year's? Are we making it special? Memorial Day. For Americans, it's usually burgers and fries, day off work. For others, they're out there with their friends buried in the ground. They're respecting those they've lost. They're planting flags It's a somber moment. It's not a happy moment. Are we there to support them? Are we there to show respect to them? Remember, are we putting the devotion, the sacrifice, self-denial, the patience, the love towards our fellows? For those that it's a somber moment, that's their sad day. That's their bad day. Let's help them. Be with them. Let's be supportive of them on that day. Because there'll be another day that you'll need it. You may not have lost someone in friend. You may have not been in the service for Memorial Day. Juneteenth. An odd one, but no less significant. When the last person after the Civil War was notified, the last slave got the word that they were free. The bad part is they didn't know that they were free for years. That's how long it took the message to get to them. So much so they don't even know what day it was that they got the word. So they just say, Juneteenth sometime. So they pick the day and says, that's the day. And yet, it's a day that has some power to it because we finally got rid of a shackle, a base passion of humanity to subjugate another one. And instead, throw that shackle off, call them brothers. That's a powerful day. Let's go with Valentine's Day. Kind of an interesting one. But are we focusing on love? Or are we letting our base passions get in the way? Are we letting our selfishness get in the way? Our materialistic needs get in the way? Because a lot of these things here, we kind of let the materialism, which the spirits give us our due. It's like we're still learning to come out of being materialistic. I mean, that's why we're level 2. Still very, very materialistic, but we're learning. Now we're at 2.5, so we're getting out of it. Level 3, the materialism fades. So are we going through and putting the emphasis on saying, do I really need to go this far? For Valentine's Day, does it have to be the full restaurant, 5-star restaurant, flowers, chocolate, the decorations around the house and the balloons, the full things for a day that's meant to be about love? Is it the materialistic show of love or the actual love and devotion itself? Which has the priority? Or are we letting our selfishness take over? St. Patrick's Day, that was free for luck. And then guess what do? We all become Irish for a day and go drinking. Again, we're not dealing with our higher levels at this one. We're dealing with our base passions. A reason to go off and be silly. Or Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday, Carnival. Where did that one come to be? We got to hurry up, get our sins out. We got to get up, do all our bad things. Rush, get them all in, because we got 40 days of good behavior coming. Because as soon as Ash Wednesday hit, that's it, you're done. Good boys and girls for 40 days. That's a challenge. Especially when you got 3 days when you're partying it up and everything else, and you go cold turkey from party mode to can't have meat, da 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 da. But are we looking at that wrong? I brought a challenge up a couple years ago around that same time where it says like, hey, 40 days, that's roughly the time it takes to create a new habit or start a new habit. Or, in particular, get rid of a vice. So I made a challenge. You got 40 days. Let's give up a vice. You want to quit smoking? Use that as an opportunity. They say, give something up for Lent. So, give up a vice. Best part about it is since the whole community is giving up a vice of all different types, they can all be supportive of each other. It's like for those that are trying to quit smoking, they're really needing a cigarette. For those that are trying to quit drinking, they'll be jonesing for a drink. They'll be but they can be there for each other to support themselves, no matter their vice. So now you're bringing the unity together. You're bringing the community together. You're showing the love. You're doing a sacrifice already because you're giving up a vice. Now you're showing a devotion to each other. You're helping each other. So you're building bonds of love and compassion, charity with each other. Go back to what I said with Halloween. Are we focusing on the material things? Are we focusing on the candy haul, the scariest costume, the best decorated house or scariest house? I mean, there's some people that put a lot of effort into it. A lot of money. A lot of materialism. A lot of pride. And for what? I mean, that's literally that part. It's not promoting anything. But yet, it's set up against a very holy day, All Saints' Day. The day reserved for all the other saints that don't have one. Valentine, Patrick. Well, now you've got the rest. It says, hey, look at all these people that sacrificed, that did great wonders for Judeo-Christian causes. We talk about St. Francis of Assisi. And we talk and look at some of our Spiritist authors. We have Emmanuel, Joanna de Angelis, that were part of that group that worked with those people. So are we recognizing their efforts? I mean, as Spiritists, we can almost throw Chico on that day. The amount of efforts and works that he did would be a day to honor him. Now, he didn't want that. He wanted to keep his humbleness. But that's a day that we can sit there and say, like, the people that showed us the light, that helped us to be better. So there's a day that we don't even touch. Is it because we can't materialize it? Is it because we can't make money off of it? I mean, that's why we're kind of skipping Thanksgiving and going right to Christmas. People know how to make money. They know how to, throw out the bang, the things like, and it's like that, doing the Christmas music, doing the Christmas decorations, that happy, jolly atmosphere, totally ignoring the fact that there's a group in there that you can't really, so you can't really get it material. Why? How do you commercialize giving thanks? Really? How do you make money off that? You're not supposed to. This is one of those things you see, and you understand that there's some things that are greater than money. So when you have Thanksgiving, does money get displayed? No. maybe on the quality of the food. That's about it. And having your friends around and things like this, that's what brings you together. You're not brought together on materialistic needs. Like I said, the group down in Miami, Friendsgiving, coming together. Same with Christmas. Are we focusing on Santa Claus? Are we focusing on Jesus? Which one are we putting in the balance? Now, thankfully, St. Nicholas, he also had a positive message. Good cheer, happiness. Not letting a child suffer. Lifting them up. Bringing them joy with a toy. But is that the message we continue to convey today? Or are we getting lost? My parents asked my daughter for her Christmas list. And she's sitting here like, okay, Nintendo Switch, Heelys, she knows what she wants. And she wants to get it. Is that being a little selfish? Are you just focused in on the presents? Are you not focused in on sharing some time with Grammy and Grampy and Daddy? Is it not a time to, maybe help some other people? Let's see. We have the box out there for the toys now, don't we? Or is it not yet? Don't know? Okay. But usually, in the years past, there's usually been a box. Whether it's be Marine Corps Reserve with the Toys for Tots or a one for the center, we'll choose. They do bring things that it's like, hey, please buy a gift, put it in the box so we can give it to someone that's in need. Just like the Caravan of Love here. Every 2 weeks, does this big thing to help the homeless here in Orlando. They make food. They bring used clothes to donate, to give. And other people have come together. And the time that I've been a part of it or seen it, it's grown from the efforts of us and a few other groups to now having an ambulance service comes in and does free wellness checks, to having a portable shower unit like what FEMA has. For those that don't have a home, they can go in and have a free shower. They have a laundry service so they can wash their clothes at least once every 2 weeks for free. There's a big effort in this to help them out, lift them up. To sit there and say, hey, you are a person. You are special. We may not be able to figure out or help you in the way you need, but here we are still trying to reach a hand out. Maybe, and also be someone to talk to, be someone to listen to. So we do need to put the effort in to help each other. So, I say to you, are you looking forward to a holiday or a holy day? Are you going to look forward to making a day special? Are you going to look forward, or are you just going to have a reason to celebrate, but not go within and bring out the love within? And share that love that you have, that those of us that are here, that we come here every week to study and learn and to grow, are we putting what we're learning into practice? And that's what I'm asking of you. Because the spirits have told us, we're not going to make it the first try. That's why we got reincarnation. But at least we need to make the effort. Come into this life and make it better. Boy Scouts even have that. And a few other places have it. It says, like, leave a place better than you found it. Leave your life better than you found it. But not only that, help those along the way. You have these days to be special, that are meant to be special. Why were they special? And maybe find a way to honor that specialness. And it could also maybe be that one day a week, the Sabbath, whether it's Saturday, Sunday, that day of rest, where you put aside the chores, the work, and everything else, and focus in on what matters most. Friends, family. Now, some people, they can congregate around the grill and have a conversation there. For others, they need to get away from it because they have to focus on what they're preparing, so it takes them away from the organization, from that. So they're not making the day holy. It's a chore day. It's not special. We need to make ourselves feel special, because we are special. But we also have to give reasons to make everyone else feel special. So much so, we made holidays, holy days, to make us feel special. Now, with that, I will transition over to our vibration sections. So, you'll do it? All right.